Hey everyone, I'm Evangeline right here at etrailer. Since every bike rack fits every vehicle differently, we're focusing in today on how the Hollywood Rack's Destination 4 fits on the 2024 Mazda CX-50. The Destination 4 is very popular as a bike rack because it can carry a lot of bikes without taking up a lot of space or being too heavy. Now, it does have its downsides, which is maximum weight capacity of 35 pounds. So if you have extra heavy electric bikes, might not be the best fit for you. But the upsides, especially here on the CX-50, is it has really good height, even with a lower Mazda hitch, and it doesn't take up too much space. So your smaller car still can fit into most garages and parking spots. We'll take some measurements so you can double check. But first things first, if you wanted access to your cargo area, do note that this bike rack does not tilt away. So you are gonna have to remove your bikes in order to get access in there. So something to think about too. Speaking of measurements, since this is a very compact bike rack, I think that's pretty important. So if you measure from the bumper to the end of the rack, that's going to be a little over 38 inches, which is pretty impressive. Plus, with that wing-shaped design, you can fit bikes of different shapes and sizes, and it sits pretty high up off the ground. There are 3 touch points on the bike that hold the bike in place. 1 and 2 are going to be your wheel straps. So they hold onto your bike, and then if you were to load your bike up, you just pull down, and that rubber pad helps secure your rim. Pressing this lever, I can then release the strap. Now that design is something that I've noticed for even smaller kids' bikes. I fit a 5-year-old kid's bike on here, and his actually fit on a platform rack, which is very unique and super helpful. And another thing to this bike rack is you have a frame mount with a 360-degree rotation. So right over here, you can see that if I removed this lever, or I guess press the lever to remove this strap, I'm then able to take this out and then bring this around. And then if I had just, let's say, a step-through frame or a kid's bike, I can rotate that around to fit on the frame. And then here, if I needed to remove the bike, I don't have to go high up. I just need to dodge around this mast. And then we are good to go. So looking over at how that bike rack holds onto those tires, you just have some lightweight materials all around. And that way, whether you have a road bike or a mountain bike, a kid's bike, an adult bike, you are set. Now, what I like to do is, if there are no bikes on the rack, I do like to fold the thing up, just because this might not be as visible for people on the road. And this is something that a lot of people forget, is that these masts are held up by these brackets. So to move the mast down, we're gonna loosen this knob, and that way this bracket can drop right over there. And then I can move this down to another spot. Let's see. Right over here seems good. And then just secure it with a wheel strap so that the mast doesn't pop up while we are driving around. So there are a couple more touch points on this compared to some other racks. So just something to be mindful of, that it may take time to make your adjustments, things like that. Now, another adjustment we're gonna make is we're going to fold this rack up. This has a clip and then a bolt. We're gonna let that bolt hang, and then I am going to bring this up to position and then tighten it down with that bolt right there. So make sure that is secured when you're driving around. This has an anti-rattle bolt as well as this little bolt. So if you notice that your bike seems like it's shaking a lot, Make sure those two things are secured. Now for your Mazda CX-50, there are two options for hitches. You could get a smaller 1.25" hitch receiver or the larger 2" receiver. The Destination 4 only works with the larger 2" hitch receiver, so try to get that one if possible. And this is what it looks like behind your vehicle. Notice with it folded up like this, full visibility still through your rear window because of how high it sits. Your taillights are visible. Now your backup camera and your license plate are technically going to be covered. Your backup camera sits right here in this opening. So what's going to happen is you'll have limited visibility through that camera, but this open design means that if there are people and vehicles behind you, you actually will still be able to see them through the bike rack. This, though, will be more visible for the people around you, making for a safer trip. So, if you're looking for a 4-bike platform rack, I highly recommend the Destination 4. I personally think it's so much more stable than a hanging rack, and it's easier to load bikes onto. However, the lack of a tilt-away function, some people are not a big fan of. If you have or find yourself always needing to get into the cargo area, you may want to consider something like the Benton Shifts and Grants. That is a 2+2, so it's a 4-bike carrier with more weight capacity and a button that you press to tilt the whole thing away. That one definitely is going to be heavier and larger though, so it really depends on what your priorities are. If you are looking for something compact, lightweight, and can carry 4 bikes, well, what you just saw here was the Hollywood Rack's Destination 4 on the 2024 Mazda CX-50.
Now we're going to go ahead and take it on our test course. First, we'll start with the slaloms. This is going to show the side-to-side action. It's kind of going to mimic the movements that you'll see whenever you're driving down the road normally. Now we'll have the alternating speed bumps. This is going to be more so like the uneven roads and some of that uneven terrain you might be traveling on, and see how it holds up.